because I have got some new tips and tricks with the Love Heart Pocket Quilt. I felt inspired to make some more of these, and I kind of improved its value because I have a sheet for you that you can print off that has the message on the back of the little heart pocket quilt. So I have made these for some people that I just felt needed some extra love, or that I wanted them to be able to feel love for me. And it's just like a little heart pocket quilt that you can put in your pocket, and then it has a little paper saying on the back. So I have a pattern for you guys. It's free at stitchesquilting.com, love pocket quilt / love pocket quilt. But I can turn on that so you guys can get the pattern for it. But I just improved it so that we can actually use it and print it off on fabric. So here I have printed this off on a piece of fabric on an inkjet printer. And that has the message on the back so that you don't have to put on a piece of paper. But I have to tell you, I've had this paper on here for a couple months and it has not come off. It has stayed put. I'm going to make sure I can see comments. Hello, Molly. Hi, Amanda. Hello, Laura. It's so good to see you guys. I am coming from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I go live on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon. So turn on your post notifications and subscribe and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So and Pinterest, but whatever, you know. But those are the places where you can catch my live videos. But so this has been printed on paper, and it took me a little while to get this designed. But I have a sheet that's designed where you have a whole bunch of these that you can print off on your printer and just use the paper sheets, and they work great. Mine have really sustained. Hi, Liz. Hi, Delinda. Hi, Molly. It's so good to see you guys. It really is. And I just love seeing you guys. And hi, Lynette. I see you on YouTube. It's so fun. It's so fun. So anyways, so I don't know about you, but you know, this whole thing of like the pandemic and different things going on in the world, I just feel like more than ever I've felt inspired to make some more of these. We've had some deaths here in Utah that were not related to coronavirus, that I kind of wanted to share these with people that were mourning. I don't know those people personally, but I know people that are mourning from that, and I just wanted to be able to send this off. And that there were some funerals actually today, and I just wanted to be able to like go drop this off. And it's just so tiny and small. It's not intrusive. I don't know, it felt like a good way. I mean, how do you help people when people are struggling and having a hard time, and especially when we're all at a distance, right? There are things that we can do that are not from a distance, and you know, there's so many things. We can get so creative, but this is just something I've designed. Anyways, so this is something I want to share. But what I want to share this time is that I have this printed off on a fabric, on a piece of fabric, on my inkjet printer. And you guys, I know I'm such a doofus, but it took me a little while to do this. I have it designed so it is exactly a 2.5-inch square, and you guys can cut lots of 2.5-inch squares from this. Does that make sense? So I designed it intentionally so that will work for you. But I always use a laser printer, and I use a laser printer because I print a lot of things, and then I get things professionally printed. I don't pull out an inkjet printer very often, although I do have one. So a lot of people have inkjet printers. So there's a difference between laser and inkjet printers. Most of the fabric, the computer printer fabric. So, and there's different ways to do this, you guys. You can actually get like a piece of fabric and then put, help me, you guys, with the tips of how to do this so you don't have to buy your computer printer fabric, okay? But you can put it, is it parchment paper or wax paper on the back of it? Can anybody help me? Is Dolores there? I don't know who all is there, but anyways, we'll look it up. I'll look it up and get some tips for you. So there's different ways to do this. But the only ink that really stays permanent typically is an inkjet printer. So I have printed this off. So I don't use my inkjet printer very often, and I want to give you a quick tip, okay? This is what I do. Let me find it. It's in kind of the little trash can right here. Before I put something in an inkjet printer, because you forget what is the right side and the wrong side of what you're doing. So there is a right side where your fabric is, and a wrong side where like the wax paper, the parchment paper is behind it. Okay, so what I do is I can never remember, like, well, what's the top side to push this through the printer? I go ahead and I put a sheet in my printer and I type something stupid like hello, okay? And I do an arrow. That's my little scribbled arrow. That's my arrow. I do this all the time because I have to print off like these labels, all right? I got to print off some labels later that I put on packages. So the Stitches quilting packages look fun or whatever. So I always do this to remember, like, oh, I gotta put it face up this way. Does that make sense? Anyways, so that's just a quick tip if you're doing that. That's my little goofy tip that I do. Okay, so I'm gonna put this away and let's get to what we do next. So I have printed this off on the printer. We're gonna make a little heart. But the next thing that you need to do is after you print this off, you need to set it with heat. So, I'm going to get my pad here, and let's go ahead and change the view of the camera. Okay, so I'm going to just move things around just a tiny little bit, and let's change it to the top view. Okay, so you can see here, I'll move that over. Let me make sure I don't have some weird things underneath here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is you can use your iron to just set this, and I have my iron preheated. Yes, it's still hot. And let's put a piece of fabric over this. Sorry guys, I'm going to just grab another random piece of fabric. And we are going to set this ink into the fabric so that if this gets washed, which this typically won't get washed. What tips do you guys, parchment paper or freezer paper? Okay, yes, somebody is saying on the comments. Let me update my comments so I can see everything. Yes, I don't know, I can't see who made that comment, but thank you. So anyway, so I'm setting the ink into the fabric, okay, because this is inkjet, an inkjet method. But you do need to set your ink and set it in there. So I'm going to just kind of do that. So I have an iron. I also have my Cricut Easy Press that I can get to go to really super high degrees. And I'm going to just set that on there. And anyways, either way works. Okay, you guys have stuff at your homes. I'm not going to smush it around too much. All right, so let's get to making the heart. Now, when I first introduced this pattern, I introduced it as a foundation piecing pattern. I found that a lot of people kind of struggle with foundation paper piecing. So I rewrote the pattern. Oh, I need to press this too. Let me go ahead and press this one. This little piece of fabric. So I rewrote the pattern for you guys so that we have it as a rotary piecing instruction. So I want to show that to you. The pattern is free. If you already downloaded it, you might want to just go download it again. You can just ask for the pattern on Facebook or look in the link on YouTube and it will have it there for you. All right? You will get the pattern. It's a free pattern that you just go to my website and get that. So, let me show you, and then I have some tips on how I have been sewing these together. All right, I have all of the instructions in the pattern for you. So what we are working with, and I'm going to cut this strip right here, is with let me look at this, hold on. I've got a whole bunch right here for you. Look, and I've been sewing them, like gobs and gobs of them. And I've got gobs that are finished, okay? I've got tons of these that are finished, and I'm going to show you how I string feed them. and some little tips and tricks on that too, because I'm just making a whole bunch of these to be able to share with others. Remember, you can have 2 different colors of fabric if you want to, and you know, so it's definitely easy to do. So let's go ahead and cut this. So we are starting with, let me go ahead and cut this little piece of fabric scrap that I have right here. I've got plenty of my other pieces cut. And you do want to be kind of precise because we're making something small, but making tiny things is just really a lot of fun. I mean, it really is just tons of fun to make different things that are just small. So I'm going to just cut out 2 of these so that you guys can see how to work with this. And then I am going to show you my tips and my tricks on this. So let me just make sure that my measurements are consistent, because when I cut things, I just cut like everything in bulk. And so we're going to just start with that. Okay. So there we go. So you can see, and I tried to be accurate with what I was doing, and you can see how I'm string feeding here. I have my little pieces of white fabric right here, and I have a whole bunch cut right there. Okay. The first thing that I do is we are going to stitch, okay, so let me find a heart that's finished. Sorry guys, let me just find one that's finished raw. Okay, I've got a whole bunch of these that are part of the windows of the little house blocks. Okay, so we're making 2 different sides. So you need 2 different sides of your fabric right here, okay? And then you're gonna make just 4 little points up here. What I do, so I can remember which way I'm stitching this, and let me pull my sewing machine closer to me so I can see what I'm doing, is I just sew these on the corner, and you can mark your corners with a pencil. I've just been sewing so many of these. So if you have like a little pen, you can take your ruler or a friction pen or pencil and just mark the diagonal line. Let me see if I've got a pencil here. I think my friction pens are down in a different, oh no, here, I've got my friction pens right here. Okay, so I could take this hot pink friction pen and then I could mark this. A pencil will work. Whatever you have will work. With friction pens, it disappears with heat. Okay, and we could do the same thing with the larger square too. Okay, there we go. But I get to the point now where I've just eyeballed it because I'm making so many of these. You do whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch on that diagonal line. So let's go ahead and bring this down. These are so fast. And you just make them all a ton at a time. I'm going to take this over and I'm going to put this in the same corner up here at the top. And this is my trick, okay? Because when I'm sewing a whole bunch of them, I start right there. And let me just go ahead and lift this up real fast. Have that needle go down. There we go. So this one I'm going to do without the line. Now, what I do here, so I don't get myself confused, you guys, I've been sewing outside and inside. I'm sure you guys have all seen that with my feeds. And then I moved some of my supplies in here. Okay, so I have these 2 done, all right? Now, I am not going to put on, because I have to put on another square right over here, okay, once I press this up. I am not going to put on my top squares yet. I am going to go from top square to lower lower square and lower square. Because on these ones, we're going to need these to be stitched like this. We're going to need this one to be stitched this way. And we're going to need this one to be stitched this way. So if you're making a whole bunch of these all at once, this is my tip for you. And I'll give you some tips for piecing it, okay? Because when we open this up, we need these to open like that. So when we piece this together, so I keep these up here because then I know, oh, I'm going to start stitching from this side, or my next one, I'm going to start stitching from the opposite side of that, all right? So let's go ahead and just stitch these on. And that's my little tip there, just to help you. And I often go just a hair over. Gosh, I wish I wasn't using white thread. I just often go, and I'll show you this. I go a hair over from the diagonal line. And we are going to press this in just one moment. Let me go ahead and pull this off. Okay, so if you can see on this one right here, let me grab my scissor. I'm just, my stitches are a hair to the right of that line because I am going to fold this over this way. So you just don't want to veer off that direction. Okay, so where you're folding it over, I just do slightly a hair. And this one, I know I'm folding it over this way. So I'm just doing a slight hair over that way. And that kind of keeps it where it's not, you know, coming, it's just easy to do. And where you're not going different directions. Okay, let's go ahead and press this real quickly. And you can see that my little lines are going to disappear here. So I just put a little bit of heat on and with the friction pen, and it just completely disappears. Now I'm going to press back these two pieces right now while I'm on this. And often when I'm doing this, I will take my little square and lay it on top just so it can, I don't know, just kind of sit there a little bit and cool with a little bit of pressure on it. Okay, this one I feel like I went a little bit off. Okay, but that's all right. Okay, there we go. All right. So once again, I just kind of set that on there just so that they're getting they're resting, and I'll press like a whole stack of them all at once. And it goes super fast. Now we're going to put on the other little square. So this one right here, and we're going to put it in the other corner because we need this to be kind of pointed off. Before I put this on, once again, we can draw our diagonal lines. I haven't been, as I've been doing this, just like max, you know, just doing a ton at a time. Okay, here we go. And I'll give you some little tips on how I make these little points match. Okay, let's see. What are you guys? Let's see. Okay, so now we're going to put this one right here. Okay, but before I stitch that on, I am going to cut this off, my excess fabric, just about 1/4 of an inch or so that when I stitch that together, it'll go through. So let's go ahead and put that on there and just go ahead and stitch that along. So these are just my little quilting tips for making a gazillion of these. Because, you know, we can share a lot of love out there in just little ways. Doesn't have to be super intense, right? Or, I don't know. Okay. So, and I'm going to just leave 2 of these on someone's doorstep today with just a little note that I appreciate them. Or mail them. I'm going to mail some out too. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to be ready to stitch these together. We're going to cut out our 2.5 inch fabric right here. Let me press these one more time. I need my little smaller pressing mat. I can get rid of my friction pen. Press this up. And I'll just kind of set a ruler on it. Where'd my little, it's right underneath this mat. But I'll just set that right there. Okay. There we go. Let's go ahead and lay these down. And I wish I had my smaller mat. I'm moving everything all around the place. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to match these 2 pieces together because we need these 2 pieces to match. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on that. All right. So I'm not going to square these up yet. I'm going to go ahead and match these together. And I'm going to pin it. So I guess I could get rid of some of these other threads. So remember, we're going to have our 1/4 inch seam. And I have learned that what I want to do, okay, yeah, let's get rid of some of these excess threads. So you guys can see this just a tiny bit better. All right. So I'm going to match these 2 points up right there. Okay, and I'm going to stick a pin in it because I really want that to stay put right in that little spot. Okay, then I'm going to match up these points here, and you can see it's not perfect. All right, it's not, this side is really good, this side is not. But what I'm going to do is I'm wanting to match that white seam. That's what matters, is matching the white seam, or the seam right there. And I'm going to stick a pin in it. Actually, I'm going to go from this direction. I have also found, and it actually goes really fast when you're making a ton of these. And let me go from this direction too. And you don't want to shift too much while you're working with it. Then I'm going to start stitching from this side, and when I am getting ready, and right after I get this sealed, I'm going to give this a little tug and make sure that I'm still holding this together and that those are going to match those seams. So let's go ahead and experiment and see if on live video I match these seams, all right? Because every so often I do have to unpick. Okay, let's go ahead and sew that. Now I'm going to want to make sure that this is still matching up. And I'm going to just, fabric has a little bit of stretch to it, even cotton fabric. And I'm going to just make sure that I'm still got that matched. And if it needs a tiny bit of stretch, then I will. Okay, here's the big reveal. Let's see if I matched my seams. Okay, it's pretty good. This shifted a little bit up there. Doggone it. But this one really did good. Let's unpick this real fast. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I hope I have an unpicker. I keep carrying things. Oh, here's one. You guys, I keep carrying things to my outside sewing space, then down to the fabric cutting room, then over in here, and I don't know, I keep walking away with things. And I gotta stop it. I don't normally do that. It's just so crazy. Okay, so I've unpicked that just a little bit. Once again, I wanna make sure, in fact, I'm gonna just do a little bit more because that does need to just kind of have a little pull. I'll pull out some of those threads. Sorry, there are so many threads here. This is just super annoying. Let's go ahead and trim all of our threads so you guys can see a little bit better what is going on. Okay, so once again, I want this to match right here. Let me pull out those other existing threads. I want this to match right here. And do you see how there's kind of like a little bit of extra fabric right there? So when I am stitching this, as I pull it, that will come. All right, so I'm definitely, you can see what is happening there. And let's just bring this down one more time. And I am gonna pin it right over here. Maybe what I'll do is put my pin right there because I want those to just stay really firm. Okay, let's go ahead and bring this back underneath the sewing machine needle, and we're going to give it just a tiny bit of a tug as we bring that together. And I'm glad that this happened on live video so that you guys can see how to auto correct that. Okay, I hope that this matches now. Let's look. Ready for the big reveal? Oh, just a tiny bit, but that's okay. That's actually really good. I like that. Let's get this pressed now, okay? So let's go ahead and press this. The next thing that is super important right here that you want to do is press this. I don't use much starch or anything else when I'm doing this, but I will press it really good. I will bring over my other cutting mat, my little rotary one. And I find this is super important to have this little 2.5-inch ruler. And I have these for sale at Stitches Quilting. I should put them on that page so you guys can just see them real fast, and they're really affordable. I don't know how much they are, but I can see exactly that I'm right in the center of that seam. Does that make sense? And I'm going to cut off. I can see right here at the tips of where the tips of those, where the bottom tip is, so that I'm matching all of those points. And I really like this little thing. We could also thin off the extra fabrics. I like using the rotary mat. I don't have rotary mats back in stock. I ran out of stock of these. I'll have to see if my distributor has them back. So everything with the pandemic, some things just go out of stock, and boy, it's hard to estimate when they come back in. But I sure love this little rotary one when I'm making a whole bunch of these. Okay, that looks great. Okay, now the next step that we are going to do, and let's go ahead and trim off that little excess thread, is sew the backing to this, all right? It looks so cute, but remember, you can use different colored fabrics. You can use just tons of different things there. But instead of doing the little paper, but in the pattern, you get this paper message that you can print off on your printer, and you also get this one that you can print off on fabric. So I'm going to use my little 2.5 inch ruler again, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So I've got one of these. Whoops. Go ahead and pull that over. Okay, that's from there. I'm going to size this down just a little bit so it's a for sure square. And then this way I won't have to, and I can see that I'm kind of squared in there. So once again, I am going to go ahead and cut these. And I will see if the rotary mats are back in stock from my supplier. This is like a little Sue Daily rotating mat. Do you guys use this? Okay, you love your 2.5 inch ruler. Yeah, I know. I love this little, I think that's maybe Dolores, I'm not sure. But yeah, I love this ruler. I use it all the freaking time. I know that's silly, but I really do. Between this and the 4.5 inch ruler, I've got them both just sitting real close. Okay, so this is ready. This needs to take off the wax paper on here. Does anybody have good tips on this? I got to take off my glasses. Okay, we are going to peel off the wax paper. I love to cut with the wax paper on there because it just feels so good. Or whatever they have. This almost feels like a sticky tape. Okay, I'm going to peel this off. And now I am going to sew this to the back of that. We're going to turn it inside out, and our little love heart pocket quilt is going to be ready to be given away. All right, look at that. Okay, the little message that this one says is stitches of love to put in your pocket. A reminder you are loved and not alone. God is love. Rub to come from a place of love instead of fear. Love yourself and love others. So I think it's kind of a sweet message. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just a corny person. Okay, so now I'm going to put these right sides together. I'm going to show you this side. I am going to stitch along the left, the top, and the right side. I'm going to leave my bottom open, and I'm going to use that to turn it inside out, okay? But when I'm doing this, I'm going to turn this back over, and I'm going to stitch from this side. So let's get rid of some of my threads. And the reason why I'm stitching from this side is because I do want my points to kind of meet up, all right? So let me show you what I'm talking about here, okay? I am going to want to cross over the intersection of this point so this point meets up. You learn a lot of skills making these little things because I don't want to take off the top of my little heart points, right? See how these little heart points are showing and the little heart bottom? Okay, so we want to be able to stitch on this side and match up these points, and we're going to want to match up the intersection right here down at the bottom. And we could press this open so we could see it better, or press it over to the side so we can see it better. Either way, it'll work, okay? I'll just stick a pin in the center of this so I don't have too much shifting, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Let me just like shift it down just a tiny little bit. All right, let's do it. And then this is going to be some love that's shared today. Okay, so up it goes, just right up along. I've got my needle in the down position. I'm going to intersect my top seams. So let me go ahead and just pivot this around. I'm going to take out my pin. And I'm going to go just above the intersection of those points. You guys, how else can we help people feel loved in the world? You know, while we're in a pandemic, we can deliver food. We can do Zoom calls or Facebook video calls. We can reach out to people that way. I'm going to turn again and just pivot down this bottom side. Okay. So let's see how I intersected this, and I'll show you exactly what I meant. So right here, you can see that when I intersected these two lines, I just went right above. The goal is to go right through it or just right above. And once again, when I intersected these lines, I just went right above. Okay, we're going to turn this inside out, but before I do, I'm going to clip my corners so they can be a little bit more pointed. And let's turn this inside out. Oh, there's our little message on the back. It's so cute. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, what's cuter, this one or on the fabric? They're both awesome. I love this one because you have like another piece of fabric there. Okay, where's my point-to-point turner? I also cleared my space the other day when we did the Stitch Happens, squaring up that quilt. So I kind of put things away too. Did you guys see my Stitch Happens quilt hanging in my backyard outdoor sewing area? Oh boy, might lose you. The thunder is rolling there in Canada. Yes. Anyways, but yeah, that was too fun with the little, it's crazy that you've got thunder there. We have had some different storms. I'm sorry, Liz, that you've got some storms coming through. Okay, so there we have that. I'm going to press this again and then close that little opening. All right, so there we go. We've got our heart right here, and we're going to turn this around. This person is a little healthcare hero. So like our little healthcare hero pattern, I'm going to embroider just a small, you know, like red cross, but white cross on the heart right here. So, you know, there's so many things that we can do. I mean, you can grab some embroidery fabric and, embroidery floss, and there's just so many cute little things that you can do. Look at that. It just looks darling. Okay, so now we're going to turn this up, seal up the bottom section. So this is going to go fast, and then we'll be all done. And I am going to just kind of trim my little inside seam there, put it at an angle, try to have that go outward. But I don't know, I think that this sure is a sweet thing to make for somebody. Let's get rid of some of my excess threads, right guys? The excess thread right there. And let's turn this back around. Too funny. It's a little awkward, but it works. Oh, I should have trimmed off my my extra layers of fabric. It'd be a little bit less dense and easier to fold. I didn't trim off those excess layers. Okay, here we go. You can leave them in there, whatever you guys want to do. Let's press this again, folded and closed. So let me grab my iron, and I'm gonna just hold that down slightly. I'll rework it after I get my first press on it. Let's press it again, and then we'll just run this through the sewing machine, and it is finished. So you can see, just takes a second, but it sure is a sweet little gift. Okay, pushing that down. I could still trim that excess fabric in there. Maybe I'll do that really fast. Let's go ahead and go in there. Okay, let's see. You guys, I just so adore you guys. I'm going to take off some of this excess fabric that I could have done before, which is so silly of me. You know, just trimming off your extra flaps from the half square triangles. Does that make sense? Okay, let me go in here and trim this. This would have been so much easier, just so I have less bulk in there as I'm pressing this and getting it to close. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna finger press this thing and do one more press. Guys, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. And then you can quilt it and finish it just a tiny bit more. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's do that side. And let's go ahead and turn this one a little bit more. Okay. Ta-da-da. Almost done. You guys, this is so funny. I feel so awkward. I feel like I have such big fingers working with something so tiny. Okay, that's gonna work. Let me go ahead and set my ruler on it so it kind of, well, you know, cools a little bit closed. I'm gonna put that right there. Okay, let's put that on there one more time. Okay, let me show you on this one. I did some little bit of extra stitching. I stitched around the whole circumference of it, and I also stitched around the heart, which I think is a lot of fun. You can see that on the back side too. So either way is great. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and throw this into the sewing machine. No matter what you do, it's just sweet, it's from the heart, and it works. All right. Okay, come on, little guy. Let's go through here. Just holding those little pieces in there together. Push that along. Okay, let me tuck this in just a tiny bit. I'll use my little point-to-point turner and press that like that, a little firmly. Instead of a finger press, sometimes the point-to-point turners can be a great little tool. Okay, here we go. So this little guy is done. And I am going to go ahead and put just like a little white cross for the healthcare hero that I'm putting right there. But you guys, there's so many fun things we could do. You could use lots of different colored fabrics with this. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. So please share with me, you know, all of your different ideas, but I am going to finish making just a whole bunch of these. I am going to go ahead and do some top stitching around and about and finish that off and just make it look so darling and have that done. But here we go. I mean, we'll trim our threads and let's go ahead and switch the camera to the front view. It's so good to see you guys. And I just think that these are great gifts to give and to share that are from our heart to somebody else's heart. And I hope that these new methods of the rotary cutting that you can do, go download your free pattern. This is just some little bits of love that you can share with another person, and also make one for yourself so that you're loving yourself and you're taking care of yourself throughout the day and throughout the things and the adventures that we have that are going on. So anyways, love you guys tons. It's been so fun to be here. Thanks for spending time with me. You guys uplift my days, and I just adore seeing all of you. So I am going to go ahead and pop off, and I'm going to finish quilting this little guy. I will go ahead and, oh, thank you, Mary. Yeah, I love the look of the different fabrics too. So I think it's really a lot of fun. You could also use like a pink fabric or some other printed fabric instead of just white, especially if you're putting a white background or a neutral background on here so you can read the text. You could also print this off and just take the, have fabric be like this, but put this as a little fabric note that's kind of attached to the back. So there's so many different ideas and different things that we can do, from the paper to the fabric note. Whatever you guys want to do, all the options are there. There is a download for you, and you can dream up, and I can't wait to see the ideas that you guys come up with, because you guys are just uber creative. Be sure to post pictures in the Everyone Can Quilt group so I can see it. This is the Love Heart Pocket Quilt. Use that hashtag if you're on Instagram. And I can't wait to see what you guys work and what you make. And I will repost your pictures on my Stitches Quilting Facebook page, because I do want to share the love and just all the good things that are out there. Okay, you guys, have a great day. We'll see you a little bit later, and have fun. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you on the other side on Friday. Enjoy. Lots of my love being sent out to you guys. Love you tons.